Hey, how's it going, everyone? So what am I working on today? I got a 2011 Ford F-150. It got towed in late Friday, and they dropped it off into the shop. Apparently it died while driving. Customer said they were going along and it just lost power, and that was the end of that. So I haven't done anything to it yet. I just hooked my scanner up to it. I haven't even loaded anything up yet. Basically I just went and searched Ford, and that's about it. I haven't tried to start it, nothing. So I have no idea what's going to happen with this thing. It's almost like the way it sounded like the fuel pump died out, but of course it's just preliminary guess. That's all that is. So let's just see what I can find, and let's go from there. So here's the instrument cluster. You can see the check engine light's on, but that's usually only because it's not running. So I got the scanner here. Let's do manually select. Oh, no. Let's go automatic selection. Key is on. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 2010 F-150 with a 5.4. System selection. PCM. Come on, what do we got? Let's read fault codes. Just want to see if there's anything there. The CMDTCs, it's something memory DTC. Injector circuit open. Injector circuit open. Injector circuit open. Fuel pump module control circuit open. Well, that's a lot of codes in there. All right. So fuel pump module control circuit open. Sounds almost like I could have lost a ground somewhere. Let's try to start it and see what it does. Let me actually... Hang on one second. I'm going to pause this for 1 second because I want to screenshot this. All right, let's just try starting it and see what it does. I'm just curious. Oops. Battery's almost dead. Yeah. All right. I'm going to have to put a charger on this. I'm going to put a charger on it, and I'm going to look up those codes. Yeah, it actually blanked out my scanner. So let me do that. Let me get a charger on this, and then we're going to come back to this. I'm just going to try real quick with a booster pack. I hooked my booster pack up to it, but my booster pack, I think it's on its last leg. So let's just see if it does anything. Also, turn the headlights off. Yeah. My booster pack is shot too. Okay, let's get a charger on it, leave it sit for a while. Alright, during that time that I had the charger hooked up to it, as you can see it right there, I had actually unplugged and shut down my scanner. You don't want to leave your scanner hooked up if you're having battery voltage issues. You can ruin your scanner. So I just plugged it in. I'm letting it load up now. So let's get this loaded up and get back into it. Alright, we're back in PCM, but I don't want to do anything here yet. Okay. So, as you see, I'm not doing that. The vehicle does that on its own through the body control module. Alright, so we got nothing. So it's very possible we don't have a fuel pump. Let's check fuel pressure. Okay, so under the hood we have the Schrader valve, which is right there. But it's under this air muffler. So the problem is trying to get this on there. I'm going to have to take that air muffler off. But let me get the cap off the Schrader valve first. Okay, real quick, I took that bolt out. I can't even get the cap off, but check this out. This thing's all loose and fluttering around, and it's actually broken on the bottom side of that little elbow there. Not overly concerned about that at the moment, so I want to get it running first, but I think this air baffle, air muffler, whatever is broken, so I'm gonna have to replace that because that can create a leak on the other side of the mass air meter, which is right there, and that would be called unmetered air. Any unmetered air can create drivability issues. Okay, so I got my hose hooked up now. And one thing I noticed, as soon as I hooked it up, I had no fuel pressure whatsoever. Usually you'll get it when you're screwing it on there. You'll get some fuel leaking out. I got nothing. So I'm going to leave it wide open for a second. Don't try this at home. And we have absolutely nothing, no fuel. Let's figure out why. Okay, so here's an interesting one. I went to go start check fuses. Yeah, you know what I meant. I went to go start checking fuses in that, and of course on Ford you need the owner's manual to figure out what fuses are what, because they don't give it to you in a fuse box. This is the fuel pump relay. Yeah, it's the fuse for the fuel pump relay. Right in there, so it burned up. So let me pick out that piece that's in there. Let's get another one of these fuses in there and let's see what happens. Is it possible moisture got in there, ruined the fuse? High load, probably high load, I'd venture a guess. But let's get a fuse in there first and see what happens. What's the worst that's going to happen? It's going to pop the fuse. So I didn't have one of these specialized shorties, but I do have an old, the old school style like this. These do work. They do fit in an emergency situation like this. I don't know if the lid will close. Probably would. It seems to be about the same height as a relay. Let's see if we got any fuel now. What we're going to do is cycle the key for a moment. Yeah, oh yeah, we got fuel. Okay, you saw that. The thing shot fuel all the way down to the floor there. Let's pull that off and let's see if it'll start. Okay, with that back together, I just want you to look here real quick. Let's see, can I focus in on this so you can actually see what I'm looking at? Let me shut my light off on here. There, you see, the fuse itself never blew. The fuse itself never blew. So I'm leaning more towards this might have been a defectively made fuse and it just lasted this long. Because if it was that high a resistance or whatever on the circuit, it should have blown the fuse, and the fuse isn't blown. The other thing too is the connector actually felt decent. And it's almost as if it like melted solder down inside, because I got the little piece off. Let me show you. I might actually just clean this up real quick. There, let me shed a little light on the subject. It's almost as if it has solder on it. Like the solder came from the top and dripped down, because the bottom part here is what went into the female inside the fuse box. Inside here, sorry. I know I wasn't showing you that. Let's see if this thing starts. Assuming it's going to. You never know. Back up. Now that would also explain all of the fuel injection codes, the fuel injector codes. So a bit of an odd one here. But you just went through what I went through. I didn't pre-check anything. You know, this is what I found. All right, bit of an odd scenario right there. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna see about ordering that airbox piece. I'm gonna get the right fuse coming for this. We're gonna put that together. But I know it's gonna be all set. You know what we're gonna do though? Let me get that part of this done. I might leave the airbox piece alone for right now, so I'm sure it's gonna be a while before I can get that. I might just put some silicone on it or something just to seal it up, or some two-part epoxy. That might be the best bet for right now, just to seal it up. But yeah, let's take this thing for a ride and see how it does. Okay, so I was going to put an amp. I was going to actually loop that and put an amp clamp on it, see how many amps are actually going through there. Guess what? I don't have an amp clamp. I haven't used one in over 20 years. I don't know where mine is. It could be at my house. Could have lost it. I don't know. I haven't used one in so long. It's just I forgot all about it. But anyway, so what I did was this. just for temporary. That's a 15 amp. I stuck a 15 amper in there just for right now, while I'm waiting for that fuse to show up the correct one. But I have two 20 amps with me. I'm going to take it up the street and I'm going to see what it does. Go for a ride. So it doesn't look like I'm going to go anywhere for a minute here. Kind of blocked. I'm going to go. Is that what I just said? Yeah. Doesn't look like I'm going to go. Anyway, in case you're wondering, what's an amp clamp? An amp clamp is if I looped that circuit, you know, like bridging the gap like a fuse does. Good to know. Thank you, Car. If I bridged the wire and I took this thing called an amp clamp and I stuck it over it and I hooked my meter to it, I could tell how many amps are going through the circuit. So that'll tell me, hey, do I need to have whatever fuse in there, you know, a higher amp fuse, or obviously if I'm drawing too many amps, something's wrong. You know, is it going to be a fuel injector or is it going to be a fuel pump? Most likely a fuel pump because that's an electric motor. So, but I got a 15 amp fuse in there right now, so we're going to take it for a ride as soon as I'm clear here and see how it does with the 15 amp fuse. I got a couple of 20s with me just in case. I think I said that already. All right, so I went on my road test. Here's the fuse that I stuck in there. As you can tell, it's still good. This is, like I said, this is a 15 amp and calls for a 20 amp. If I had an amp clamp, I could at least tell you what's going through there, but I don't have an amp clamp. I'm trying to think, did I ever actually have one? I think I did. Pretty confident I did. I'm pretty sure I got one with my fluke meter when I got it. And this is years ago, so I'm pretty sure somebody probably borrowed it from me and never brought it back, but it is what it is. Like I said, I haven't needed it in over 20 years, so it's like you kind of lose track of certain things. Anyway, so I went through about 25 miles on a road test, and I tried accelerating hard, easy, all accessories, this, that, the other thing, bumpy roads, turns, twists, everything, hard acceleration, slow acceleration. I tried anything and everything I could think of to put a strain on that fuel pump. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So just now, on my last leg coming back, I did put the 20 amp in it. Just so this way I drove it for some time with a 20 amp in it, just to make sure. Obviously everything is still fine. But yeah, so a bit of an odd scenario. Here's what I think. I think that fuse, I think the leg that bridges between the two posts, I think it was probably made incorrectly. Now, yeah, I know it sounds weird, and it lasted 13 years. But it's the only thing I can think of, because the fuse never popped. Just where the leg attached to the other side is where all of a sudden it became a problem and it burned up. I got a funny feeling it, over time, just built up high resistance because it had either a crack in it, or I don't know if the bridge is soldered in place, which I think it might be, and something was done incorrectly, and I think it just managed to last that long. It's the only thing I can think of. You know, what else could it possibly be? I don't know. If you have any thoughts, let me know. Let me know in the comments. All right, yeah, we're going to leave this one at that. I'm actually going to pull it back in the shop because I'm just going to give it a general look over. You know, check the brakes and, you know, lights, tires, stuff like that, just to make sure everything's okay. If I come across anything, I'll make another video. All right, guys. Hopefully you got something out of that. That was an interesting one. Yeah, if you check down in the description, I have links to commonly used tools, you know, stuff that I use all the time. And they're budget friendly, you know, for home use too. I mean, stuff I have at work is for home use also. Majority of it. Yeah, I do have quite a few Snap-on tools, but you know, you don't need Snap-on for yourself if you're just doing homework. Work at home. Yeah, you got it. All right, guys. Have a great day. Keep wrenching. Oh, real quick, forgot to mention, I did check this thing for codes. No codes set. So there are no codes in there at all from anything. So just the monitor's not complete code that Ford sets. But that's normal. All right. Have a great day. Keep wrenching.